and welcome back to yet another episode of Pork Puck Hockey, where we talk hockey and only hockey. I'm your host, JBACS, and life sometimes gets in the way of fun things like my webisodes here. So it's been a while since I've had one out, and we've had the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. And congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning on going back-to-back. The Bolts have won this year's Stanley Cup, and they defeated the Montreal Canadiens, who was a surprise team to be in the finals, but Carey Price put the team on the back and made a nice run to the finals. Unfortunately, they didn't do so hot in the finals, but congratulations to Tampa Bay on winning back-to-back. So, this episode is going to be a little bit of some off-season talks here, and we got an expansion draft, the entry draft, and a whole bunch of moves being made for trades, signings, contract extensions, and so on. So we're going to start it off by welcoming the Seattle Kraken to the league. Seattle has finally made a team, and that happened Wednesday night at the expansion draft when they selected 30 players from 30 NHL teams. The only team who was exempt was the Vegas Golden Knights, as they have only been in the league for a few years, so they didn't have to give up one of their players. And some big names were picked, such as Mark Giordano, the captain of the Calgary Flames. He's going to be representing Seattle this year. Another one, Jordan Eberle from the New York Islanders. Big star out in Long Island. Now he's going to be moving to the Pacific Northwest and hopefully scoring some goals for that team. Chris Driedger, goaltender of the Florida Panthers, is selected and signed an extension with Seattle already. So they're looking for him to be their number one guy, it seems. They also took Vitek Vanacek from the Washington Capitals to be their 1-2 punch. And one other big name from the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning is Yanni Gourde. He's a well-rounded forward who should help that team get some scoring, some points, some assists. Good guy to have on your team, especially with back-to-back Stanley Cup experience. Adam Larson, solid defenseman, gonna help back that blue line with Mark Giordano. Another cool thing that happened is Cale Fleury, as well as Hayden Fleury, brothers, have been selected both by Seattle to bolster that defense. Pretty cool to see two brothers getting selected in the expansion draft for the first time. And good to see them on a new and upcoming team here and hopefully get them going. Some other interesting notes from the expansion draft include how young overall their team is. They selected a lot of players, I'd say roughly 75%, maybe a little less, that were under the age of 25. So there's two ways to think about that. They could be looking to develop these guys, trade these guys for, some veteran pieces, or they're just have very good faith in them and think they can win with what they got. Tyler Pitlick for the Seattle Kraken was drafted, but then immediately traded for a fourth-round pick. So that's something you might see here in the coming days as the offseason is just getting underway, and very interesting as they've selected 30 players and they have some room to work as far as the cap goes, so they might be making some move for some more veteran guys. That's all I got on the expansion draft, so let's move right on over to the entry draft. The NHL entry draft was started last night with the first round. They're now going to finish up the draft today, but the number one overall pick was Owen Powers to the Buffalo Sabres from Michigan. Interesting stat, there were a lot of Michigan college players taken in the first 5, 6, 7, 8 picks of the draft. So be on the watch for Michigan in the Big Ten in the NCAA to be winning some hockey games. The second overall pick, Matthew Beniers, he goes to the Seattle Kraken to help that team offensively, hopefully. Another cool one to hear about is some more brothers. The Hughes family gets to see their son, Jack, and Luke play for the New Jersey Devils, as Luke Hughes was selected last night by the New Jersey Devils to join his brother, Jack. And they got a third brother. You may have heard of him, Quinn Hughes, plays out in Vancouver. So, some may believe Quinn would like to make the way over to New Jersey at some point and join his brothers, but they all three were selected in the first round of the NHL entry draft. So cool to see. Nice family lines there. That's all I got about for the interesting notes from the entry draft. So we're going to talk about some of the craziness that's been going on as far as players being bought out, trades, signings, etc. before we sign off here for this episode. But let's get into it. The Minnesota Wild have bought out Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. They're paying some big money to get those players off. They played 9 years of their 13-year deal. And it's kind of interesting to see, these guys, longtime favorites in Minnesota. Somebody will probably pick them up fairly cheap, too, that they're already getting paid by Minnesota. So that's the big story as buyouts go. We're going to hop into some trades. We got plenty of trades going on here in the early goings. Philadelphia being a very big piece in the trade market. They have traded to acquire Rasmus Ristolainen from the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo's going to get Robert Hagg, a second rounder, and a first round for this year. So they already made that pick. But that's a high price for a veteran defenseman there of Ristolainen. Yeah, he's pretty good, but it's something you don't see every day as far as trades go. Another Philadelphia trade. They have traded Shane Gostisbehere, the Ghost. He hasn't quite worked out for them. Just a younger defenseman, played really well in college, came up to the pros, and just couldn't seem to get it done. So they've sent him to the Arizona Coyotes for future considerations. Now, this next trade is a very interesting one, as he was up for the Calder Trophy. Alex Nedeljkovic. I still don't know how to say his name. Very interesting name. Nedeljkovic. He's headed to Detroit, and the Hurricanes are going to get Jonathan Bernier and a pick in return. Now, interesting move for the Canes to trade their young stud goaltender for a average backup goalie from the Red Wings. So we'll see how that works out for the boys. But I think Detroit's going to be a player here, as they've made some moves, drafts, picks, and I think they're going to be on the up, hopefully. We have a three-way trade that sends Nolan Patrick to Las Vegas, Ryan Ellis to Philadelphia, and Cody Glass to Nashville. Now, Patrick and Glass are both these younger offensive players and just haven't been able to prove themselves, so seeing a change of scenery here isn't a surprise to me. But Ryan Ellis, veteran defenseman from Nashville, very good defenseman, he's going to be strapping it up for Philadelphia, and I think that helps them, as their defense has not been great in the past few years, but pair him with Provorov and you got something special. Victor Arvidsson, Nashville Predator, he's been traded to the Los Angeles Kings. Arvidsson is one of those guys that's can be in your top six or your bottom six and still make a name for himself. So hopefully he can bring some veteran presence to the young Kings and maybe right the ship out there. The Rangers, they have traded Pavel Buchnevich to the St. Louis Blues for Sammy Blah and the 2022 second-round pick that the Blues held. So Buchnevich was one of those guys that helped the Rangers towards the end of the season there, winning some games. Kind of weird to see them move him, but, this steady cap that has not changed. The salary cap is not going up as things are still trying to recover from COVID. You got guys like Buchnevich, Ellis, Rasmus Listalainen. They're not going to stay with their team that just they can't afford them, it seems. Next one, here's a big one. The Arizona Coyotes have finally traded Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and him, along with Connor Garland, are headed to the Vancouver Canucks. And in return, they got the 9th overall pick this year, Jay Beagle, Antoine Roussel, Louis Eriksson, and a second-round draft pick. Now, if you remember, the Coyotes lost a lot of their draft picks due to violating some rules. So to get a first-round and second-round pick in this deal for a guy like Ekman-Larsson and Garland, any type of a first-round pick could help replace one of those guys. The Flyers back in the news today as they have swapped Jacob Voracek, for Cam Atkinson of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And this is an interesting one. We kind of saw it coming from Voracek's end, but didn't really see Cam Atkinson getting moved from Columbus. I thought he was going to stay there for a bit, but hey, maybe they think Voracek's going to come in and help him out. We'll see. Another big name from Columbus being moved, Seth Jones has gone to the Chicago Blackhawks. Little trade there, helping out the Blackhawks on defense as they traded Duncan Keith earlier. So we'll see. It's an ever-changing landscape this offseason, it seems, and a lot of teams making moves to get better. We're going to give some congratulations to some careers here. Pekka Rinne and Matt Calvert have both decided to retire from the National Hockey League. Pekka Rinne, pretty strong goaltender in the NHL, and was just never able to get over and win that Stanley Cup. So congratulations to both of those guys. And in the show, we're going to talk about Shea Weber being out next year and possibly maybe even more due to some medical reasons, it sounds like. So after Montreal made a run, this is something I didn't talk about until now, they exposed Carey Price in the expansion draft. Fortunately for them, Seattle didn't take him, and now they're going to lose their captain, Shea Weber, after making it to the Stanley Cup Finals, so something to keep an eye on. Well, that's what I got for you this week, and we want to give a thank you to our sponsors over at Gently Poured Candles. If you guys are looking for a good smelling candle and need something to freshen up the house this summer, go on over to their website, check them out. The Scents of Pork Puck Hockey. We'd also like to thank our musical talents over at Sunreaver and Voidmaster for our intros and our collabs. And it sounds like there's some new music coming from them here, so keep an eye out for them on Spotify. But follow everybody of our sponsors on Instagram, as well as my Instagram account. Thank you. JBACS out.